Hello, friends. Today I'm talking again about one of the 8 meannesses of the heart, those things that cloud the heart and keep it from becoming one with God and seeing God in everything. And these 8 meannesses were laid out by Sri Yukteswar in his book, The Holy Science. And the goal of removing these impurities from our hearts is that we will be liberated in God's light. We will be one with God. So it's important to work at these things, to take note of them when they rise in our consciousness, and to deliberately try to eradicate them from our consciousness. And today I'm talking about fear. Fear is a very difficult one because it arises spontaneously. And we all know, I assume, what fear feels like. It's extremely unpleasant. It's not something that we want to have in our bodies, in our minds. It's awful. Well, Jesus said perfect love casts out fear. So that's a big hint for us. The more we love, the easier it is to let go of fear. And also, we need to trust. I think perfect trust casts out fear too. And that's not something that's easy to come by. We have to really learn to rely on our Heavenly Father, to cultivate that relationship with God, with the masters, with the saints, whoever it is who inspires you in your heart. We have to keep practicing that presence of them, drawing them into every aspect of our lives. For me, to feel what it feels like to have trust. I remember 2 photographs of me taken on my first day of school. As I was waiting for the school bus to come and pick me up, I was 6 years old, and I was filled with dread and stress and absolutely stricken with fear. And so my mom took a picture of me sitting on the couch waiting for the school bus, and I look like I'm ready to stand in front of the firing squad. It's just awful. The look on my face, I remember how I felt. And then my mom took a second picture of my dad sitting next to me on the couch. And I was touching my dad, just very lightly, kind of holding on to my dad, not gripping, but just lightly. And I was completely smiling, relaxed, more so, not perfectly, but I could breathe again. My dad was there. It was going to be okay. And so I remember that so viscerally. And my first year of school was a torture. That dread was completely justified. It was absolutely horrible. I had the scariest, a concentration camp Nazi guard for a first grade teacher. It was pretty awful. But through that, I could relax enough to trust in a higher power. At that point in my little life, it was just my dad. But it gave me that sense of peace. So how much more do all of us as adults have in our Heavenly Father? We have more awareness, we have more knowledge, we have hopefully more wisdom and more experience. And that's what we need to cultivate. We need to cultivate the experience of God and remember how He is helping us. There are countless, countless ways in which God helps us that we don't even realize. I remember driving back from Ananda village to Sacramento, and on just a inspiration, I stopped at a particular store for 10 minutes to pick up something. And lo and behold, when I got back out onto the road, there was a huge accident right in an intersection that I would have been going through just those 10 minutes before. And I thanked God for that. I remember another time I was driving again home from Ananda village, driving rainstorm, and lots of wind, lots of huge, heavy trucks on the highway, the freeway, and I just started praying. Please, God, help me get through this. Keep me safe. Keep everyone around me safe. Help us all to reach home safely. And just as I was praying, this huge truck started moving over into my lane, and I was just about driven off the road. But then I was saved. So we need to believe, pray believing that God, He who made us, is taking care of us. He knows our every need before we know it. He has our lives laid out. Everything that happens to us is for a reason and is designed to help us to grow. We don't need to be afraid. We need to trust. So let us develop that trust. Let us work to have a relationship with God, a partnership with God. When we are in need and when we are in joy and when there's nothing in particular going on in our lives, let's just keep drawing God into it. Even in art projects, when I did graphics for Crystal Clarity and designing Swami's books and book covers and so on years ago before we went to India, I remember praying so hard, Lord, please help me to implement Swami's ideas. And he would have very creative and very original art ideas that I would try to put into manifestation, try to create the art that would go with what he had in mind. And I had to pray a lot and ask God to please show me. And I remember that feeling of being in the zone, which is how athletes sometimes talk about being in the zone, where you're just in a flow of energy and you just keep hitting the shots and things happen that are amazing and you get free, you're able to make the shot, you're able to get the ball all the way down the court or whatever it is. And we need to pray so that we can be in the zone, which is a form of being in attunement with God all the time, because that's where the joy is. There's no point in allowing ourselves the indulgence of fear. It's counterproductive. We don't want that poisonous emotion in our bodies and minds, for one thing. And it's paralyzing. Fear is paralyzing. So we want to free ourselves from it. And yoga is extremely helpful. Exercise is extremely helpful. Good diet is extremely helpful. All these things help to balance and de-stress ourselves, especially meditation. That's one of the main beautiful things about meditation is that it eases the stress. It helps to bring peace into our body, mind, and soul. So I wanted to just share with you this Psalm 23, which is one of the most famous ones, the Psalms of David, and truly an inspiration for us. We have to believe that God is always with us, watching out for us, caring about us. And we need to trust Him. So I'll do a little bit of commentary, not much, after each line. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. We have to believe, pray believing that God is taking care of us. We are part of His flock. And we don't need to worry about being in great need because God will take care of us. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. So that's what we were made for. We were made for peace. We were made for harmony. We were made for joy. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. And this is true for all of us on the spiritual path. He is guiding us in the ways of His righteousness. Believe that. Lean on that. Trust in that. That He is awakening our minds with His truth through the scriptures, through books, through association with other spiritual people. God is helping us to grow in every moment. And this line I especially love. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. So we have no reason to fear. We have only reason to trust God more. So no matter what is happening in the outer world, pandemics come and pandemics go, and elections come and elections go, it doesn't matter. What matters is our own centered faith in God. Fear no evil, for God is with you. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. And this is a good reminder that all the injustices that have been done to us, all the anguish, all the having a first grade teacher who was a Nazi, all the things that were horrible and frightful and painful in our lives, they all have a purpose. And God is directing that purpose. And moreover, we don't have to worry about getting vengeance on any of the people through which our own karma came to us, because truly other people just act as instruments for our own karma, God will take care of the vengeance. In other places in the Bible it says, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." So let him take care of everything. Be free in your heart. Forgive those who have hurt you. I know it's not easy. I know it's really not easy, but you can do it. Lay it at God's feet. And don't pick it back up. Keep it there. Let him take care of it. And then Psalm 23 ends with this line, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." So let us live in that way. Let us live in trust and love and faith and joy in God. And think of all the blessings. Count your blessings. And you will see, if you sincerely look at all the blessings in your life, you will feel that feeling that my cup runneth over with joy.